Hi, my name is Tariq Deen. I'm a PhD student at McMaster University in Canada. My current field of research is climate change impacts and extreme events. However, in the past, I've done research on various areas of water security. And this research ultimately led me to publish a paper on water security and water pricing, along with Cecilia and two of our colleagues. And I was asked to give a short talk on this paper that we published. Unfortunately, I couldn't talk to you in person. However, I hope that this short presentation will be useful for your seminar. So instead of just talking about that paper that we wrote, I thought it would be useful if we spent a few minutes providing context. And to do that, I think we need to think about two questions. First, what is water security? And second, why is it important? So the definition of water security changes depending on the area of focus and who's using that definition. For our paper, we used UN Water's definition, which describes water security as the capacity of a population to safeguard sustainable access to adequate quantities of acceptable quality of water for sustaining livelihoods, human well-being, and socioeconomic development, and for ensuring protection against waterborne pollution and water-related disasters, and for preserving ecosystems in a climate of peace and political stability. So one of the reasons we chose this definition was because it addresses the multidimensional nature water security has on different areas of society, like human health, and security, and the economy and the environment. And also because it offers different entry points for achieving water security, like water governance, water financing, and politics. So with that in mind, we can answer the second question. Why is water security important? Well, based on WHO numbers, there are over 2 billion people that lack access to water, with a concentration of economic water scarcity, which refers to the lack of investment in water infrastructure occurring throughout Africa, South Asia, and parts of Latin America. As for physical water scarcity, it occurs in both developed countries like Western US and Eastern Australia, and in developing regions like Northern Africa and the Middle East, and Central Asia and parts of South Asia. One of the ways economic and physical water scarcity affects people is through human health. Despite improvements in human health, the lack of accessible and clean water as well as clean sanitation has led to billions of deaths, with people dying from preventable water-based diseases like cholera and typhoid fever. These deaths tend to be concentrated in developing countries and affect the most vulnerable portion of our population, typically children and the elderly. So how will water insecurity worsen in the future? While national population levels will vary, the UN Population Division projects that world population will reach 11.2 billion by the end of the century, with the majority of this growth occurring in Africa and Asia. These areas of population growth overlap with current areas of water scarcity, with the worry being that if considerable action is not taken to improve access to water in Asia and Africa, then social and health issues will amplify in the future. Additionally, water-related disasters like tropical cyclones and droughts are expected to increase both in intensity and frequency due to warming temperatures. Currently, 100 to 200 million people per year are killed or affected by floods, droughts, and other water-related disasters, and result in hundreds of billions of dollars in damages. And again, these issues often, but not exclusively, affect the most vulnerable in our society, in both developing and developed countries. So with all this in mind, our paper attempts to address one of the many issues of global water insecurity, that being water supply, specifically for agricultural use and urban consumption from a water pricing perspective. Now, the purpose of our paper wasn't to suggest one pricing method over another. Instead, we wanted water professionals and policymakers to think about the role water pricing can potentially have in reducing localized water issues and achieving water security. And we did this by presenting a holistic water pricing framework that considers water affordability, water conservation, economic development, and short-term revenue stability. And our hopes was that policymakers and water professionals would include these factors when considering pricing structures, so that people can have access to water and alleviate other water-related issues. So that was my presentation on water security. If you have any questions about the information presented, I'm sure Cecilia can give you my contact information. And with that, goodbye from Canada.